I actually don't. I know 1151 claims is one way to establish service connection. I just don't really know much about the difference between tort, is it a claim, and then 1151 claims. Can you help us out?
Yeah. So what you'll do is file essentially a FTCA claim is how it starts. And you'll put that onto the form, and the form must be submitted within 2 years of the date of, what happened is just the rule of thumb. So you don't want to delay. Do it as fast as you can. Find an attorney to help you because that's a potential tort case. So you don't want to, some problems that can come up is if you don't explain what happened well enough to give the agency proper notice, that can be an error. If you are, a living family member of a loved one who died because of negligent VA care, you have to be what's called the personal representative in many instances to even have standing to submit the claim. And that's
is that issue. Like a power of attorney kind of a thing?
Yeah,
or is that what,
it is. So in many instances,
executor, trustee, or
executors. So you have to get that established with the court, most states, to have standing to even submit the claim. Right. So if you don't do that, you could lose just because of that if you don't do it in time. Each state's different. They all have their own rules. But the FTCA itself is national. And so you can
what does that acronym stand for?
So so you have the Federal Tort Claims Act. Okay, and so basically the Federal Tort Claims Act is when the federal government waives its immunity, and then you end up basically being able to sue. But you have to follow the requirements for a properly submitted FTCA.
Is that the qualified immunity that cops have?
No.
No? Different? Okay, that's different.
A little different.
Different. Immunity, just whatever. Anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Well, this deals with you can't sue the king, right, or the queen. Right. So the idea is sovereign immunity, and this comes from our friends over in England, and this is where we get this type of case law. So you cannot sue except for the small sliver that has been excluded by Congress, and so they essentially created this right under this framework. And so this is super important to understand because you can also parallel have an 1151 case also filed, but some veterans get confused about whether they should do an 1151 case, which is also focused on getting benefits because of malpractice or related. So basically the 1151 case, if what happened to you is also not reasonably foreseeable, then you can also get that in. And so it's got kind of this little carve out, whereas normally on tort, if the outcome that occurs in tort is not reasonably foreseeable, then the person who did the thing that caused the injury usually won't be liable. Not always, but there is going to be an exception in certain instances. But basically, if it's not a reasonably foreseeable outcome, odds are you're not going to get tort if it's far enough removed. When it comes to an 1151, you can, and I have argued, whatever occurred was not reasonably foreseeable. Therefore, veteran could not consent to it. Therefore, benefits, please. And so you can go that route. And it's just a little bit of a nuance. And the requirements for proving it are usually a little bit less stringent as compared to a tort, which you have to prove most certainly, and you have to bring your own evidence. And
what I don't like about this? It just stinks.
What's that?
Reasonably foreseeable. Like those two words in any context, they just actually anger me. And in the VA thing, it really angers me. So that is super open to interpretation. And that is all over the board. And that's definitely lawyer land in my mind. I don't think there's a lot of words and phrases in the VA. This one, in this context, when it's this important, that it's reasonable. Well, it was reasonable because they don't even really need to put up an argument, and that's when they're not doctoring the records. In this case, they were. Let me jump in here real quick and tell you about my boot camp. If you want to learn more about the VA claims process, check out my boot camp. You can talk to me live. There's a link on the website. And in the description, combatcraig.com. And also, if you need medical evidence, like a nexus or documenting your symptoms properly, Go to our website, combatcraig.com, and it says medteam/Nexus letters. Click on that link, fill out the form. Boom, you're done.